Welcome back to your boy Carcino, and we're talking about Screen Thing presents Stranger Things. Season 1 review. Now, Stranger Things is about this town, and this one little town that they have. It's basically everyone knows each other in the town. And there's one big facility over there that's doing government researches is in this area. Nobody knows what they do or what's going on over there. But it seems to be they're conducting some experiment with special kids, kids with psychic abilities and different type of things, and they accidentally cracked open a portal between our world and what's on the other side of that world, which is like an opposite world where everything's like dead. And something came out and it was loose in our world. And it would take and feed and go back. It can go back into its own world, back to what they call the upside down. So one of these kids that was taken is out of the group of these kids that hang out just like you would in your own neighborhood. And one of the girls that was in the actual facility, she escapes this facility. And she only known by her number that's on her wrist, which is number 11. So as she escapes and get away from the facility, she goes through a drain pipe or whatever. They kind of find her. These boys all find her, and it's just like the Goonies game. They find this girl, and the main character, he hides her under his bed, and his parents don't know. They're oblivious to what's going on. Now, this is the 80s. This is a period piece. And it's good because, see, if this is something that with today's technology, it robs it of its natural feel. Like if everyone had cell phones back then, it would kind of take the edge off of it. Here, they're still using walkie talkies. They did things that kids did back in the 80s when they didn't have things. They read books, they read comics, they went to the library, they played, they rode bikes. They did what kids did. They played outside and there was no problems. In other words, they weren't sheltered as much as the rest of the world. They went on little adventures playing in junkyards. This is what kids did back in the 80s. So it wasn't unusual. Now it's unusual. Somebody's driving them to the mall, or kids will just hang out there all day and be on their phones. It's not too much adventure in that. But anyway, as they're going on this mission, they want to find their friend Will. We gotta find Will. Will was kidnapped and drug into the upside down world, where he's been running and hiding and trying to stay away. Winona Ryder is good for playing a neurotic role, and this fits her character all the way to the end, as she plays a very neurotic mom who's so worried about her son Will. And his bigger brother, his arc is that he's considered to be weird. He loves photography, and he happens to like the sister of one of the main characters in the film. And she has a boyfriend who appears to be the most popular guy in the school, and they're blending her in to fit in into this new lifestyle that they got now. And then you come to find out that he's really not a bad guy. He really was a good guy, even though he was the popular guy in the school. And they were trying to make him out to be a punk. They get into a fight, And he, after getting beat up, he realizes that I was being an idiot. And he ends up helping the girl and the other guy that she really likes. You know, it's one of those situations where you know that where this is going. Then you have this police sheriff who's very connected to Will's mom. Like they know each other from school, and it seems like they had love for one another, but for some reason it never materialized. The father comes back around once he sees his son's missing because he's looking at a way he could sue the facility and blame that research lab. Now, the girl that escaped, who's hiding under the bed, who's known as 11, she's learning things that she's been institutionalized her entire life just from hanging out with this group. And she has special powers. And Will and her have a special connection where he cares about her and likes her a lot and blah, blah, blah. So that's in play. Now, with all of these things going on, you would think, wow, okay, well, things are balanced out. No, because they're trying to track down, a bunch of kids are trying to track down a real life alien. And for kids, this is exciting. They thinking he's lost in the woods and they're going to track him and find him themselves. The lab knows what happened and they want to cover it up. So they're just trying to tell the parents, look, he's dead by presenting them with a fake body. But what he's doing is trying to contact through light. And you see the lights in the house flickering. The mom is figuring it out that he's in the house somewhere, but he's not there. He's like in the walls. She's breaking the walls open. She don't know what to do. His biological dad shows up in town like he's there to care about the son. He's there because he's coming up with a way. We talked to a lawyer so he can get some money out of it. That's why dad's in town. Dad, they couldn't contact him and get him to do nothing. But as soon as they talked about some money, Pops was right there. Look, those guys killed our boy. They went there and had a funeral, and she was like, that's not him. I don't know what they got. My son is running around here in these walls. And they was like, look, you crazy. Let's get this money and let's go. So of course she puts up the I can't believe you're talking like this isn't your child. Then it goes from that to we gotta get Will and find another person and the girl who finds out her boyfriend. She left her best friend to go sleep with her boyfriend because she felt pressured being somebody she's not. Her friend gets taken as well. So now that's what put her on the trail, even though her brother's friend is missing. Now, what makes this show work is the chemistry of the kids. The kids are great, especially the curly haired kid who was missing his two front teeth at the time. He is excellent in the role. Like all the kids are great, but he was a standout guy. Now, the other guy who's the lead character, he's always very neurotic, but he took a backseat to the charismatic character, the guy with the curly hair and the hat. I can't think his name, but he was just the heart of the film. And when it got down to it, they eventually had to get information from the lab as the cop went in there and saw the body and realized that they gave a fake body. It was stuffed full of cotton balls. So now this investigation and then everything sounds so colluded. I know. Please bear with me because this show is so vast, especially when you're covering an entire season. And now they've realized that this facility lab has issued them a body that is false. Not the whole town, but the sheriff knows. They kidnap the sheriff, they drug him up and try to make it look like the sheriff is back on drugs, taking pills. Now, the sheriff is battling his own demons because the sheriff has definitely went through a lot of pain, divorce, um, they lost. So it's a lot of different afflictions out there that his character's going through. It's like he's not happy. He's living alone in the woods, just suffering, and likes to be alone. Comes into work when he basically feels like it as the sheriff. But what you see is that many of the players in the game, meaning that the characters, are all intertwined with one another in the town. They all suffering from these afflictions. So what happened was during these events that were taking place, all of them started to feed off one another, like team up. It was like, look, we need to team up. We have the same problem. Yes, let's team up. This is an issue with us too. Let's team up. We got this going on. Hey, we need to team up. This is happening. And eventually, they are setting traps to track this thing. That when the lights are flickering, that means that it's near and it's coming out. And they find out that it's attracted to blood. When it starts seeing something bleed or there's some blood somewhere, that's when it appears. So right away, it sensed blood. They had blood in the house and it started to pour out of the walls because it's coming for blood. It smells it. So the alien peers, pulls itself from the upside down into our world, trying to grab something to go back because it smells the blood. So at this point, 11 is helping them, trying to track them because she has a power where she can go to the other side, look at a photograph of the person, close her eyes, and go and find them. So she closes her eyes, she finds them, and basically she finds out that the girl is, when she finds her, she's already gone. She's dead. The female friend, she's gone already. Completely just wiped out. Then you have a situation where you have the sheriff. He's sitting there and concerned. He's helping out, but they find Will. He's hiding still in the upside down. He hasn't really been found, even though he's in the upside down. He's been hiding and running, and he's dying though. He's sick, and they gotta try to get to him before it's too late. Before the place starts to feed off him. So the parents decide the best way to do is to go to that lab, go on the inside, and get Will. They're going in to get Will. Now, on the other side, they are prepared to fight this monster. They tried to trap him, which they did, and they hurt him by setting a booby trap, and then they set him on fire. But somehow he broke out of it and got away. Now he's at a school trying to track them down because he's on a hunt and a prowl. The government are looking for these kids, and here comes the beam because they saw the blood that happened at the scene when 11 was there. And 11 has psychic powers. She can make heads explode, crack necks. She can do a lot with her psychic abilities. So as she cracked these people necks, the things come through, And as kids, they think that they can fight this monster with slingshots and rocks. So they got slingshots and rocks that they found and just start firing nothing but rocks all at this alien like it was gonna work. And the alien's getting ready to kill these kids, and here comes 11. 11 shows up, grabs that monster, uses all her powers, and she told them, I'm sorry, I'm finna get out of here. Because every time she uses her powers, like drains her like a battery. And she goes back to zero. She used a lot of her power that day, and she just destroyed herself. When she just destroyed the entire monster, whatever the Demogoblin, whatever, tore it to pieces. And when she tore it to pieces, she disappeared too. And she was gone. Then on the other side, they saved Will. They took this long tube out of his mouth from the upside down. He threw up, and all this stuff was in there. They got him back, did CPR on him, brought him back to life, brought him back to our world. He didn't go through a full inspection from the lab. They let him come back home. He's getting ready to eat. He goes home and he throws up a worm looking thing into the drain. And as he does that, season fades away. And that's the end of season 1 of Stranger Things. Do 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 do